The fundamental question, as you've heard already, is money, finding the funds to buy enough gas to power the thermal plant. Okay, so if it's that simple, why is government struggling? Let's break it down for you. I want to bring in my colleague Kofi Agyei with a research desk, joins us in the studio right now. Dumsor is simply because of the lack of funds. We've heard that many times. So how much do we need to purchase fuel to power the plants?
Well, Evans, so according to the Energy Commission in their 2024 energy sector outlook, according to them, in 2024, we need a total of $1.14 billion to buy fuel to power our plants. Monthly, if we do the breakdown, that's about $95 million every month. Each day, $3.2 million. And in the next 8 months, we need about $760 million to buy fuel to power plants.
Those are jaw-dropping figures there, indeed. Monthly of $95 million. And government in the past have relied on several sources to find the money to buy the gas for us. And the reason why the lights have been on for so long. But we're now beginning to learn a bit more about these sources and the status of these sources. What do we know?
Well, so let's start with ECG collection, which is currently under recovery, and according to the budget, the 2024 budget, the energy sector shortfall is expected to hit 23.65 billion Ghana cedis. So definitely, whatever ECG will collect this year, there will be a shortfall of 23.65 billion, Ghana cedis. Now let's go to tariff.
So what it means that first source isn't enough.
It's not enough.
Won't even make a dent in what we need to ensure that your light is on and your light is on continuously for a long period of time. What about borrowing? They can borrow, can they?
Absolutely. And let's go to the securities, the government securities that they usually issue to get this money. So first one is the bonds market. We know after the DDP, that market has collapsed.
So the Dutch bonds, the ESLA, the GOG bonds
are all dead. Yeah. And in fact, if you look at the BOG, for instance, they usually will come in to support the government. But now they've been made to sign a 0% financing agreement with the finance ministry. And so they cannot come in to bail out.
Okay, but what about, treasury bills, etc.? I mean, that will bring in some money.
That has been the pool of hope for government this year. They are currently targeting to borrow more than 90 billion Ghana cedis from this pool. But currently, we know that interest rate is currently on the decline, and this is no longer becoming attractive, especially the short term. And we've seen the latest one that they issued. There were some marginal under subscription, Evans.
Okay, so it's not as sexy anymore to buy the treasury bills, and so they're not raising as much there too. Okay, let's throw in the international capital market. Surely they could go out there and look for money from abroad.
Absolutely, that has been our biggest hope all
i.e.
along.
the Euro bonds.
Yeah, the Euro bonds were giving us in the last 4 or 5 years close to $3 billion each year, and we're using this money to solve a lot of problems. Now, when we had our economic crisis in 2022, that market was completely shut. Currently, we do not have access to the Eurobond market.
We've actually stopped servicing that debt for quite a while now, and so that is also closed now. Okay, still, we still need to expand this a bit more, right? We know that we have some scheduled external inflows this year. Can we rely on these? I mean, World Bank, IMF, everybody wants to help us. So what's the problem there? Can't you take some of that money and simply pump it into buying fuel for the plants?
Well, we are expecting an inflow of $1.4 billion, but each of this money is supposed to go into specific, projects. For instance, the IMF is expected to give us $720 million this year. It's supposed to go into BOP financing. And in fact, you know that the most immediate disbursement of $360 million is currently on hold, and we are only hoping to get it by June 2024. Now, from the World Bank, we're expecting $620 million.
The point to make about the IMF amounts you mentioned is that it's predetermined what you can spend it on. You can't spend it on
strictly on BOP support. Now, let's go to the World Bank, which is scheduled to give us some $620 million this year. This is the breakdown. This money is supposed to go into specific projects. Now, the first $300 million will go into development policy operation, what they call it the DPOs. That money is currently pending. And then the next $70 million will go into Ghana Productive Safety Net project. It's currently pending. Then we have the emergency financial sector support, supposed to help us with the recapitalization, $250 million pending. Then there's also the African Development Bank, which is scheduled to give us some $44 million. That money is pending. So in total, $1.4 billion from all of these sources, but they have specific needs that they have to address.
And you say 1.4 billion, and we need, from the Energy Commission's calculations, 1.14 billion. So
just by fuel.
Absolutely. So that just gives you a sense of the task that government is coming to having to deal with now. But the bottom line, having assessed all these potential sources, is that you begin to appreciate why it's becoming very difficult for government to solve this, because it's a financial problem. In fact, today, as we consider the various options, somebody threw in, why don't you do... We have gold for oil. Yeah. Why don't you do gold for gas?
Well, the gold for gas probably will be one of a good policy because it's actually saving the amount of money we need to buy the fuel currently. Every month we need about $400 million to buy refined crude. And if you look at the gas, for instance, $95 million, that's less than how much we need to buy refined crude. So if we are indeed looking at a policy like the gold for gas, that's probably an easy one to do compared to the gold for oil.
So you begin to appreciate now why the government is just having to deal with this matter in a way that we still haven't had anybody tell us concretely when this will end, or articulate in very clear terms how they plan to solve this. Let's bring in Kwadwo Poku. He's the chairman of the Manifesto Committee for the NPP and joins us on the line right now. Mr. Poku, thanks for your time here on News 9. Hello, Mr. Poku. Okay, I don't seem to have him just yet, but I want to hear from you wherever you are tonight. Share your thoughts with me. Do you already have the lights out in your area? Let's hear from you. 055-1111-997. And we're still watching very closely what is happening in the Ashanti region with the workers there. Tomorrow, they've already served notice. They're going to go out in force in their red armbands, flying red flags, because they're protesting against the Ashanti regional minister. And this has a contagion effect, because we'll be learning tonight that all regions will now join their ECG colleagues in the Ashanti region on this particular protest. Stay with me for an update on that. Kwadwo Poku is back on the line with me right now. Thank you, Mr. Poku, for your time here on News 9. How are you?
Yeah, Evans, good evening. Evans, for the analysis that you and your colleague have done, then we just close the country and all move to another country. Because from the analysis that voodoo mathematics you and your colleague has done on this line, look, let's be honest with ourselves, Evans. If before you even go to ask the question, let me explain something to you, because I was listening to the voodoo mathematics you and your colleague was doing. If you go and meet somebody selling kilole, and you see that that person needs 10 cedis for the whole year to buy a jongo, where would that 10 cedis come from? Isn't it from the sale of the kilole?
You mean so in this? You mean in this sense?
If we need money to buy fuel, isn't the money for if we need money for fuel to generate electricity? Isn't the money for the fuel come from the payment of me and you when we pay our tariffs?
Well, so, Kwadwo Poku, we touched on that. I don't know if you heard that. I mean, I don't know why you would listen to it. You heard that. We started with that exactly. And we did a march. And the march tell us from the PURC's own documents that just a second. Even if you collect everything that we sell, ECG sells to us, the money that comes in, as we've seen from the data, is it enough to cover the 1.14 billion that the Energy Commission says we need to buy fuel this year?
Evans, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
You called me for a reason, so please give me the chance to explain anything. What I'm trying to explain to you is that don't let us keep dragging government into this thing as if we are in a helpless situation. The money needed to generate electricity, to buy fuel to generate electricity, PURC has given us a tariff. In that tariff, there is every kilowatt of hour generated, there is a certain percentage that goes towards fuel. So if you need $1.2 billion to generate electricity, it means that you are going to generate electricity enough for you to be able to generate that money and pay that back. Yes, we all understand that there are losses. We all understand that ECG is having problem accounting for some monies that has been collected between August and January or something that PURC is looking up to. But that doesn't present a situation for you to now say that voodoo mathematics that you did.
Kwadwo Poku, I don't think you're getting the point here. So you say that there's money coming in from the ECG sale of power. If so, why haven't you bought enough fuel to power the thermal plants?
Which fuel? Okay, which thermal plant doesn't have fuel? Please tell me the thermal plant that doesn't have fuel.
Tonight, as we speak, Gridco is shedding around 500 megawatts.
No,
why?
We're shedding any load tonight. We are not shedding any load tonight. You see,
so I slept in darkness for 12 hours last night because
open your phone line.
Because you have power.
That his load is being shed tonight.
Somebody decided to put me off.
Sorry?
I'm saying I slept in darkness for 12 hours last night because you still
darkness
have power.
Let's not talk
and somebody
yesterday.
put it off.
Saying that, Evans, you are saying that tonight we are shedding 500. But it's not true. Nobody is shedding load tonight.
Do you have? Do you or do you not have? And this is multiple sources talking about this, including the former deputy energy minister who was there, who talks about the challenge with securing funds to buy fuel. You are on the manifesto committee. You're saying that you don't have a challenge of securing funds to buy fuel?
There is no such thing as, you see, stop buying into people's propaganda. It's not fair.
Propaganda, including your own former deputy energy minister and the Evans Mensah and the chairman of the Parliament's Energy Committee, Atachan, who has repeatedly said to us on the show and many other shows, including our dialogue last week, that when he met all the stakeholders, it came down to finding money to buy gas.
Ivan, please let me talk. You called me for a reason, so let me talk. There is a simple propaganda that all of you have bought into, which is this thing about government needs money to buy fuel. I'm asking you, which fuel does government need money to buy? You can't even tell me.
No, but your question you're asking is, so if you have, are you saying that we have enough money to buy gas for the plants?
Nobody, you see, that's the problem. You don't buy gas. The fuel, you see, that's the problem. So you ask the question and we'll educate you. The extra fuel that everybody talks about is liquid fuel. Because at some times there is a shortage of gas because of the less flow coming from Nigeria. So when we have less flow coming from Nigeria, or let's say Ghana gas has a trip and there isn't enough gas coming from there, you need liquid fuel to power some of these machines. And Ascend Power can use light crude oil. AXA can use HFO. And then the TTP plant in Pong can use diesel. So when people say that government doesn't have money to fuel, they are saying that government has money to buy gas. Gas, we don't have to buy gas cash on carry. Okay? What they are saying that we need money for is the liquid fuel to supplement the shortage when there is a gas shortfall.
Whether it's gas, whether it's fuel, you don't have what it takes to power the plants.
Please. Evans, let me finish. So when you are buying into these propagandas, please get the explanation right before you buy the propaganda. That government doesn't have money and government will go to the World Bank, will go to IMF. It's not true. You see, let's not do these things because it's not helping anybody. You're supposed to educate people. Let's not do that.
You still haven't addressed the substantive matter here. Are you stating, Mr. Poku, if you may? What's your point? Your point is that you have fuel to power the plants, or you're saying that you still the fuel is coming, you're buying it on credit and it hasn't arrived. What's your point exactly? Why are we having the Dumsor?
Not means that government doesn't have money to gas because gas can't carry. But government having gas for fuel, it's not gas that they are talking about. It's heavy, it's liquid fuel.
Does it even matter whether it's fuel, is water? Does it matter? I mean, we're sleeping in darkness. We just want the lights on.
No, Evans, if you want to find out why we are in darkness, let's have a conversation. Stop prejudice the conversation by saying that government is broke, the IMF and all the voodoo mathematics you and your colleague went through.
Let me read to you. I mean, you claim you are informed. Let me read to you a document from the Gridco. Gridco wrote this to the Energy Ministry, and this is something that they had done between the period 27th March to April 2nd. I want to read you the conclusion. And this was before Parliament's Energy Committee. Listen, it says, generation will be inadequate to meet peak demand for the coming week. up to 510 megawatts load relief requested to keep the system stable. There's a need to source for more gas from Nigeria above the VRA firm contract to run the idle thermal plants to meet the increasing electricity demand. And then we heard from the former Deputy Energy Minister last week say the government is actually right now in negotiations with Nigeria to do exactly that. So this comes down to gas.
Okay, so but does it say in there that government doesn't have money to pay for the gas?
Do you have money? Do you have money?
Is there any word you just read that says that government doesn't have money to pay for that gas?
Mr. Poku, do you have money to pay for the gas?
Because we always pay. Go and ask NGAS if Ghana, if VRA owes NGAS. VRA does not owe NGAS. The money to buy the fuel comes from the tariffs you and I pay.
So if you have the money, Mr. Poku, final question on this. If you have the money to buy the gas, why are we sleeping in darkness?
Government has money to buy gas. Government does not owe anybody before they have to supply the gas. You see, I am educating something, and the more you listen, the more better.
Why, Mr. Poku? Next simple question. Why, Mr. Poku, are millions of Ghanaians sleeping in darkness?
Well, my brother, you just read the configuration that we need to basically negotiate with Nigeria for more gas. Didn't you just read that? And the reason we need to negotiate with Nigeria for more gas is that the Nigeria is having challenges. They are not able to meet the required gas they're supposed to give us. Okay? Every time Nigeria has given us more gas, we've been able to pay for the gas. So when we say that this is not about money, let's don't listen to the NDC propaganda where they say that the government is.
And I put it to you that it's not NDC propaganda. It is what we've heard from the chairman of the Energy Committee in Parliament. We've heard so too from the Deputy Energy Minister, who's raised the current challenges with the financing that is currently being dealt with.
Okay, so, tell me exactly what the Deputy Minister said in terms of finance. Did he say that it's broke, we don't have money to pay for gas? Did he say that?
Well, those are your words. But he's raising the issues about the current economic challenges, and that is definitely impacting on government's ability sustainably buy the fuels that we need to power the plants adequately.
Bank and all this that, it's dire, and those things. But nobody, I asked you a simple question. What is the gas, what is the fuel source that we need money to pay for? You couldn't tell me. And you're talking about gas. Meanwhile, we don't need money to buy the gas.
Well, final question to you, and the people listening to you make their own judgments on the answers you've given. But final question to you. We've heard from civil society groups who say the president himself must show leadership on this matter. The criticism is that he hasn't. Nobody has laid out a clear plan to fixing this with clear timelines. Fair point?
Well, yes, I agree to an extent that we need a bit more clarity from the ministry to basically shed a bit more light and basically diffuse some of this misinformation that you are putting out to the public. Okay? So I entreat the ministry to come out and share more light on some of these issues. And I don't think that there hasn't been leadership. There have been meetings from the ministry, there have been meetings at the presidency, they've got these retreats. I know that there are concrete plans that will manifest in some time soon. Okay? But what I want to put out there is that, yes, I will entreat the ministry to come and basically light on what they are doing.
Okay, thank you. That's Kwadwo Poku there. He chairs the NPP's Manifesto Committee. I want to hear from you. Give me your thoughts on his responses to the key questions that you've been asking over the last few weeks.